So I recently celebrated my 10-year autism diagnosis anniversary. So I just wanted to talk to you about how my life has changed during the 10 years from my diagnosis, and also what has not changed. So I was 28 when I got my diagnosis, and so I was an adult and I lived undiagnosed for a long time. And I had to go to private healthcare to get my diagnosis, to get evaluated, because I wasn't taken seriously in public healthcare. Nobody believed I was autistic. People just told me that the autism traits have to be very strong to get diagnosed. And well, when I finally got evaluated, yes, indeed, my autism traits were very strong, and I got a very clear Asperger's diagnosis, because 10 years ago there still was the Asperger's diagnosis, because now it's just autism spectrum disorder. That's what it's called now, but at the time there was still the Asperger's diagnosis. And I also got an ADHD diagnosis, or ADD, because I'm not really hyperactive. But yeah, I got the ADD diagnosis a few months after my autism diagnosis. I didn't instantly get the ADHD diagnosis because they didn't believe I had ADHD, because I was able to sit still, basically. Yeah, because I'm mostly inattentive ADHD, so yeah. But eventually I got both autism and ADHD diagnosis. So the one thing that has not changed since my autism diagnosis is support. So before my diagnosis, I thought that if I would get the diagnosis, then I would get lots of support, and people would be like, hey, you're autistic, you're gonna need lots of support and we're gonna give it to you. But it didn't work out like that. Basically, autistic adults are mostly ignored, diagnosed or not, at least here in Finland. So when it comes to support, I'm still on my own. Other than that, many things have changed since my diagnosis. And so, first of all, my autism symptoms have gotten worse. Well, it's not because I got diagnosed, but well, it might be because of autistic burnout, and also autism symptoms just tend to get worse with the older we get. And by worse, I don't mean that everything about autism is negative, but the traits that do affect my life negatively, they have gotten worse. So my sensory issues have gotten way worse. It's hard to go to places like grocery stores. I don't really go to grocery stores anymore. I just order groceries pickup service. So of course I had been masking for a long time, basically my whole life, and I didn't just instantly stop masking when I got my autism diagnosis. I still masked a lot for years after my diagnosis. I also continued pushing myself to do things that were just too much for me, even after my diagnosis. For example, I went to Japan to study in a language school, and I had to wake up early every morning, which is something I've never been able to do. Even in elementary school, I was always late because I couldn't get up, and also because of ADHD and basically time blind. So the language school in Japan was a disaster. I was not able to get up every morning. I was absent a lot. I didn't finish my courses, and I also got some really bad health issues due to severe stress. But in the recent years, I've gradually learned to accommodate for my needs. And I've learned to accept that there are things I just can't do, even though I did those things in the past. I've also started to unmask, also because I had to, because I just can't do it anymore because of autistic burnout. And I just don't care as much what people think of me anymore. I'm not saying I don't care at all, but I reduced my people-pleasing tendencies, which I always had. Basically, I've started to build my life around my autism and ADHD. I'm constantly learning new ways to make my life more autism and ADHD friendly, because before my diagnosis and also after my diagnosis, my life was absolutely not autism or ADHD friendly. Since I got my autism and ADHD diagnosis, I've also had some successes in my life I probably wouldn't have had if I hadn't been diagnosed. So first of all, I found a partner who is also autistic, and I got married. I graduated from the university and got my master's degree. So I was finally able to write my master's thesis. I also accepted that I'm basically unemployable to traditional jobs and started my own business. And I also got a driver's license at the age of 34. But the biggest success has been that I'm accepting myself more, and I'm also just much happier. So was getting the autism diagnosis worth it? Definitely. It was definitely worth it because it saved my life. So I didn't introduce myself yet because I wanted to get straight to the point at the beginning of this video, but my name is Kirsti and I talk about neurodiversity, basically autism and ADHD as a late diagnosed adult on this channel. So if that's something that might interest you, be sure to subscribe to my channel, okay? See you next time. Bye.